Hi, StudyMates. Welcome back to Let's Study IELTS program. I'm Victoria, and today we're going to learn about vocabulary for IELTS speaking part 2. Let's make this fun and easy to understand. Now, before we start our lesson, let me introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I'm your tutor, Victoria Wijaya, and these are my experiences and achievements to prove that I have the qualifications to teach you guys. So the first is IELTS Band 8, and these are English writing competitions. The second one specifically has to do with public speaking, where I have to explain my research. So yeah. Now, on to the next slide. Nah, jadi ini adalah objective materials yang kalian akan belajar hari ini, yaitu common questions, structure on how to answer the question, useful vocabulary, do's and don'ts, practice, tips, dan action plan. Biar kalian bisa mengimplementasi knowledge yang kalian dapat dari pelajaran hari ini. Biar bisa dapat IELTS Band 8 atau bahkan lebih tinggi. Iya. Nah, pertama-tama, what is IELTS Speaking Part 2? Jadi, IELTS Speaking Part 2 is the middle stage. In this section, you have 1 minute to take notes and think about how you're going to answer. Then you'll need to speak for 2 minutes straight. Nah, the examiner pertama-tama akan mengasih kalian cue cards. Jadi, kalian akan mendapat satu kartu dengan yang ada bullet points juga yang bisa memberi kalian ide untuk bagaimana jawab pertanyaan tersebut. Tapi kalian juga bisa menambah dalam 2 menit yang kalian membicara. Okay, now continuing to the next slide. The material. Nah, before we start, it's important to know that you guys cannot memorize the words. You have to understand the vocabulary before you speak. Karena kalau kalian menghafal tanpa mengerti apa arti kata itu, it can come off as unnatural. Examinernya pasti akan tahu kalian beneran mengerti arti kata tersebut. Karena biasanya kalau kalian nggak mengerti kata itu, it can come off as unnatural dalam konteks kalimat yang kalian bicara. Jadi, please mengerti dulu vocabulary sebelum kalian membicara. Yang kedua itu, you guys also don't need to be extremely formal. Karena kalau kalian terlalu formal, it can come off as unnatural juga. Oke. Lanjut ke next slide. Nah, oke. What is the format for IELTS Speaking Part 2? The IELTS Speaking Part 2, you guys have 1 minute to prepare and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. You guys talk based on a prompt card, and the card contains 1 main question and 3 to 4 bullet points. Okay, now, how do we answer this? We use the structure of introduction, main body, and then the conclusion. Now, the introduction is usually only 10 to 20 seconds. Jadi, ya, lumayan pendek. We can restate or paraphrase the topic, give an overview or background. The second is the main body. Nah, the main body itu usually bagian yang paling panjang, yaitu bisa 1 menit atau ya 1,5 menit. You have to explain the who, what, where, when to set the scene, how you felt. Nah, hal yang paling penting dalam bagian main body itu kalian harus make it personal. Jadi jangan bicara secara objektif, kalian harus kasih view sendiri tentang topik tersebut. Jadi misalnya kalau menanya tentang kayak makanan, kalian jangan ngomong aja tentang like the types of food that there is, like Indonesian food, Japanese food, Chinese cuisine, all of this. Kalian juga harus menambahkan perspektif sendiri seperti what's your favorite food, what food you don't like, what food you grew up eating, kayak hal-hal seperti itu. yaitu add personal opinions. It ties to this. Nah, sebenarnya bagian ini tuh optional, yaitu conclusion. Conclusion itu juga bagian yang pendek seperti introduction. Itu hanya membutuhkan ya sekitar 10-20 detik to reflect or summarize. Now, this part is optional, jadi bisa kalian lakukan atau enggak. Continuing to the next slide. Example 1. Describe a book you read that had a big impact on you. You should say what the book was when you read it, what it was about, and explain why it had a big impact on you. Jadi bullet point ini tuh hanya menggambar ide untuk kalian. Kalian itu nggak usah beneran mengikuti bullet point tersebut. Kalian juga bisa menambah-nambah. So this is the sample answer. This is the introduction that, first of all, answers the question, which is describe a book you read that had a big impact on you. One of my favorite books I've ever read is called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I read it last year during a school holiday when I was trying to develop healthier habits. Jadi this first part explains kayak what the book is. Bagian kedua, yaitu yang main body itu menjelaskan lebih tentang bukunya. This book is basically about how small, consistent habits can lead to huge changes over time. Jadi tentang apa buku ini. Terus it explains how our environment and mindset influences our behavior, provides tangible strategies. Again, kayak lebih menjelaskan kayak buku ini tentang apa dan juga mengasih contoh. Berikutnya, nah, kan sebelumnya itu describe bukunya itu apa. Sekarang orangnya juga describe what made this book so impactful for me. For me, kalian harus mengikut part ini, yaitu opini personal. Was that I learned how impactful it is to just start, no matter how small or how short the time is. After reading it, I started waking up earlier, planning my day, and even exercising regularly. Kalian bisa lihat gak bagaimana ini menjawab pertanyaan tadi, which is describe a book that impacted your life. Now, how did it impact your life? After reading it, I started positive habits yang tadi dibilang di buku itu. Jadi, bagian main body itu sebenarnya juga bagian yang menjawab pertanyaan yang ditanya. Kalau bagian satu introduction itu hanya bilang apa buku itu. Jadi, apa buku yang impact my life, bukan like in depth of what the book is and how it impacted my life. Nah, bagian ketiga ini tuh the conclusion. Is overall, I see this book really helped me in self-improvement. Biasanya conclusion starts with, overall, in conclusion, kayak gitu. Nah, ini juga contoh kedua, yaitu describe a memorable journey you took. You should say where you went, how you traveled, what you saw or did, and explain why this journey was memorable. Nah, pertama ini dimulai dengan one of the most memorable journeys I've ever taken was a trip to Japan with my family. Jadi bilang memorable journey-nya itu kemana? Ke Japan. Nah, ini juga ya lebih introduction, it explains how beautiful Japan is. Japan is very clean. I love visiting late at night with my family when I went back to the hotel. Okay, now on to the next slide, ya. Setelah itu, once we arrived to the city, Tokyo, we went shopping in the streets. The clothes there were really good quality, had a handmade feel to it. Once we finished shopping, we walked around and found a sushi place in a nondescript area. Jadi, ini lebih menjelaskan in detail kayak tentang, Japan, tentang ya the place, gives more details juga kan. Ini soalnya orang yang bilang sample answer ini tuh bukan hanya bilang ke Japan, like they went to Japan, mereka juga jelaskan like, oh, I walked around and found this sushi place. There was the best food I've ever eaten. It was the crispiest, freshest sushi I've ever eaten. Mereka menjelaskan kayak kenapa ke Tokyo is so memorable for them. Now, the last part explains kayak what made this journey so memorable. Why is this journey so memorable? Because it wasn't about just the destination, but the experience of traveling itself. Jadi lagi ini menjelaskan kenapa it's so memorable. Ini menjawab pertanyaan yang ditanya, which is, what is your most memorable trip? Jadi pertama, sorry guys, ternyata overall ini itu bagian konklusi. Jadi sebenarnya sampai paragraf ini, the whole paragraph until the last sentence, semuanya itu bagian yang main body. Pokoknya kalian harus ingat itu main body adalah bagian di mana kalian menjelaskan bisa pertama-tama secara objektif, terus giving your own personal touch to the story. Nah, ke slide berikutnya. Now, this is the useful vocabulary that you guys can use. Ingat, kalian gak boleh hafal, kalian harus benar mengerti kenapa kita menggunakan vocabulary ini. Oke? Oke. Biasanya kan it's very common for examiners to ask about, places, experiences, hypothetical situations, and conclusion. The describing places can be like, oh, this place is famous for its, blah, blah, blah. What makes it special is, why do you like it? The atmosphere is very lively. Where is it located? In the heart of the city? Atau if it's not in the heart of the city, mungkin like, oh, it's in a smaller city. Seperti itu. Describing experiences. It was once in a lifetime experience. I'll never forget this because of something. I felt over the moon when it exceeded my expectations. Kalau mau negatif juga boleh. I felt very sad because of this. Because it didn't fulfill my expectations or reach my expectations because of this. Ya seperti itu. Hypothetical, misalnya ditanya like, oh, like what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, I want to be this when I grow up. If I had a chance, I would do something. It would be amazing if. Conclusion itu biasanya kayak overall in conclusion, or so that's why this experience is memorable. It's memorable for me. In a nutshell, that's what I wanted to talk about. All in all, it was an unforgettable moment. Jadi kalian itu nggak usah hafal-hafal ini. Kalian cuma harus kayak menggunakan satu dari semua ini. Pilih aja satu yang fit konteks yang kalian membicarakan. Jadi sebenarnya nggak usah menghafal semua ini. Tidak usah. Yang penting hafal, ingat aja satu, dan ingat kayak arti dari sentence tersebut. Dan menggunakan dalam konteks yang tepat. Itu adalah hal yang paling penting. Nah, do's and don'ts. Di IELTS Speaking Part 2, you guys have to be confident. Jadi, if you make mistakes, correct it naturally and continue. Jangan kayak freak out and make the mistake a big deal. Misalnya kalau kalian lagi ngomong tentang your favorite food, and then you guys stumble like, oh, well, I'm not really sure. Like immediately like, correct it naturally. Like, oh, well, I'm not really sure. I think perhaps like Japanese food is my favorite. Kayak gitu. Jangan kayak, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to answer? I'm sorry. Kayak, don't freak out and make the mistake a big deal. Lanjut aja, okay? Nah, fill in the sentence with fillers to give you time to think. You guys, please don't pause often or for too long. Atau like kayak, kayak gitu, like, oh, like my favorite food is Japanese food, but oh, well, like my favorite restaurant is jangan kayak gitu. Seharusnya kayak gini. Kalau kalian agak bingung mau bicara apa. Oh, so that's a really good question. Can you give me some time to think? Well, I actually have a lot of favorite foods. However, I have to say that my favorite food is Japanese food. Seperti itu ya guys. Kalian harus improvise juga. Next is understand the vocabulary that you are going to use. Again, jangan hafal. Terus, do's itu juga make up a story if you don't know. Misalnya kalian itu ditanya, like, what's your most memorable trip? Dan kalian itu nggak tahu the most memorable trip yang kalian ada itu apa. Just make up a story. Nggak apa-apa to make up a story in outspeaking part 2. Karena ya kalian juga harus menjawab. Dan examinernya itu nggak menilai kalau story itu beneran atau enggak. Yang penting kalian ada cerita. Because they are here to examine your answers in English. That's it. They are here to examine how good you are in speaking in English. Okay? Now on to the next slide. Now, let's start with answering questions. Okay, now on to the next slide. Okay, so now I will be explaining. Okay, so now we have latihan soal. Okay, so on to the next slide. Okay, so now we have latihan soal. The first question is, which of these sentences is the most effective way to explain why you frequently use a particular piece of technology? And the second one is, which of the following is the best way to start your answer? Describe a memorable trip. Now pause the video and give you guys time to answer. Okay, now on to the next slide. Okay, now we have latihan soal pilihan ganda. Pause the video and answer the question, and then I will explain the correct answer. Okay. Now let's go to question 1. Which of these sentences is the most effective way to explain why you frequently use a particular piece of technology? The correct answer is A. Now, why is A the right answer or the best answer specifically? A is the best because it actually gives a specific, device. I use my laptop every day. Kenapa? Why? Because it is necessary for my schoolwork and for entertainment. Such as, it also gives an example. Jadi pertama, it answers the question kan. Jadi, why you frequently use a particular piece of technology? Pertama, the piece of technology yang dipakai itu laptop. Terus it answers the why question, and then it gives an example. Kenapa B, C, sama D itu bukan jawaban yang paling bagus? Itu karena B itu terlalu general. Jadi bagian B juga nggak beneran menjelaskan atau menjawab pertanyaannya, which is why you frequently use a particular piece of technology. B itu lebih general kan, like technology has become a big part of everyone's life. And I think it is very important to keep up with new devices. Although this part, yaitu I think it is very important, memberi perspektif, tapi perspektif ini tuh nggak menambah apa-apa atau beneran menjawab pertanyaan yang diberikan. Jadi B itu salah. Untuk C, yaitu Smartphone, laptops, and tablets are all useful, but I use them depending on what I need at the time. So I want to talk about them today. Nah, ini tuh nggak menjawab pertanyaannya. Ini hanya memberikan introduksi. Untuk D, my phone is something I carry around every day, but I also use other devices sometimes. Nah, sebenarnya bagian ini tuh udah mau hampir benar. My phone is something I carry on every day. Yeah. And I use it. Why do I use it? Because to call my friends. Tapi, like, we're trying to search for the best answer. And A specifically, the best, karena it also gives an example. And it is specific. Nggak kayak D, yang juga kurang menjelaskan dan bilang, but I also use other devices sometimes. Jadi karena itu, A is the best answer. Okay, now on to part 2. Question 2. Which of the following is the best way to start your answer? Describe a memorable trip. Now, A is I like traveling to different places because I think it's fun and help me learn new things. So today I want to talk about that. Now, A isn't a bad way to start your answer. Tapi terlalu generic dan nggak terlalu introduce a specific trip. It starts with I like traveling to different places because I think it's fun and help me learn new things. It's terlalu general. Jadi nggak terlalu membicarakan tentang a memorable trip. Karena ini salah. Kalau B, it starts off with I'm going to talk about a trip I went on last year. It basically introduces the trip, yaitu ke Bali. The memorable trip itu di mana? Di Bali. Which turns out to be one of the most unforgettable experiences of my life. Nah, bagian B itu menjawab tripnya itu apa, yaitu Bali, and also gives a little bit of an explanation in the introduction that it is the most unforgettable experience of their life. Jadi karena ini benar. Untuk part C, traveling is very important in today's world. This part is too general and not too specific. Jadi kayak it's not too personal to the person. When seharusnya dalam IELTS speaking part 2, seharusnya lebih personal ke orang tersebut dan seharusnya mereka lebih membicarakan tentang pengalaman mereka dari perspektif mereka. Jadi karena ini bagian C salah. Untuk D, I've been on several trips, but I'm really not sure which one to choose because they're all fun and memorable. Nah, sebenarnya kalau punya pertanyaan kayak gini, nggak apa-apa kalau jawab kayak, oh, I've been on several trips, and I'm not really sure which one is fun and memorable. Tapi kalian juga harus lanjut dan mesti tetap harus menjawab. So you guys can say like, I've been on several trips, and a lot of them have been fun and memorable. However, if I had to pick one, terus habis itu menjelaskan which one is the memorable trip. Walaupun kalian itu mungkin agak bingung, kalian tetap harus menjawab pertanyaannya. Dan karena D itu tidak menjawab pertanyaan tersebut, D itu salah dan B itu jawaban yang paling tepat. Oke. Untuk ke pertanyaan ketiga dan keempat, again, pause the video and try to answer the questions yourself first. Okay, let's start with question 3. Which of the following is the best way to give detail in your answer? Nah, pertama A, I like painting trees and birds. Now, this is not detail kan, ini lebih ke introduksi. Jadi karena ini salah. Untuk B itu, I enjoy painting because it allows me to express my emotions through colors and shapes. I should usually set up my aisles in my bedroom, easel in my bedroom in the evenings when I feel most creative. Now, bagian B itu mengasih detail kan, like why do I enjoy painting, where do I do it, when do I do it. This one gives the most detail, kayak menjawab why, where, and when. Jadi karena ini B itu jawaban yang paling tepat. Untuk C, painting is an art form that many people enjoy for different reasons. Again, C is too general and not specific enough. D, I think the painting is okay, but I don't do it often enough to get really good at it. Nah, sebenarnya D itu juga gak apa-apa. Tapi harus ada follow up. Like, I think painting is okay, but I don't really do it enough to get really good at it. So instead of painting, I instead like to do this. Atau bisa follow up kayak, I think painting is okay, but I don't do it often enough to get really good at it. I actually really like art. However, I found painting to be kind of hard because I'm not very good at drawing specific shapes. I find it hard, blah blah blah. Jadi sebenarnya dia itu boleh, tapi harus dijelaskan lebih for it to be the best answer. Jadi untuk sekarang B adalah jawaban yang paling benar. Oke, lanjut. Okay, now on to question 4. Which of the following is the best way to compare it to similar things? To describe an object that is special to you. Now, A is my necklace is nice and I like wearing it. Now, kan it says the best way to compare things that are similar, compare it to similar things. A doesn't have comparison, so it's wrong. B is my necklace is more meaningful to me than any other piece of jewelry. Now, my necklace is more meaningful to me than any other piece of jewelry. Why? Because it was a gift from my grandmother on my 16th birthday. Jadi, not only does it answer the question, yaitu jawab pertanyaannya, it also expands on the answer. Dan karena ini, B itu jawaban yang paling tepat. Untuk C, jewelry can be valuable and meaningful to people for different reasons. Again, not very specific. D, my necklace is okay and it's not really better or worse than my other accessories. Again, with D, there has to be more of an explanation. Jadi sebenarnya like my necklace is okay and it's not really better or worse than my other accessories itu gak apa-apa, tapi harus menjelaskan like why you think that necklace is okay. Like, oh, my necklace is okay. I don't really think of it as really special because, well, it's already kind of old and blah blah blah. So that because of that, I really like this other necklace that I have though. Or oh, there's this beautiful necklace in an online shop that I really want to buy. Seperti itu untuk jawabannya jadi benar. Jadi untuk sekarang B adalah jawaban yang paling tepat. Oke, sekarang lanjut ke pertanyaan berikutnya. 5 and 6. Again, pause the video before I explain the correct answers and try to answer yourself. Okay, 5. Which of the following is the best way to explain why you want to learn this skill? Describe a skill you would like to learn in the future. Now, A is I want to learn guitar because it's cool. Again, sebenarnya nggak apa-apa, tapi lebih bagus kalau dijelaskan why you think it's cool. So, I want to learn guitar because I think it's cool. I think it's cool because I went to this band and the guitarist played the guitar very well. And from this experience, it makes me want to learn guitar more. Jadi seperti itu. You have to expand kan? Because this only answers the question. You have to expand from your answer. Jadi karena ini, A itu salah. B is too generic. Many people want to learn new skills. Not specific enough or personal. Kalau C, I want to learn to play the guitar because I love music. I think it would be amazing to perform songs for my friends and family. Again, you answer the question and you expand on your answer. That's why C is correct. D, I want to learn the guitar, but I don't really know why. Again, you have to be confident and seharusnya ada penjelasan yang tepat on why you want to learn the skill. But that's why D is wrong. Oke, lanjut ke pertanyaan berikutnya, yaitu pertanyaan nomor 6. Untuk pertanyaan nomor 6, which of the following is the best way to add vivid description? Untuk A, I went to a wedding, it was nice, I liked the food and the band, the bride was my sister, and I was emotional seeing her get married. Sebenarnya A is okay, but the linking in the last part is not that good, yaitu I was emotional seeing her get married. Terus tiba-tiba it was hot on that day. Jadi karena linkingnya kurang, it makes the coherence dalam sentence ini kurang. Jadi karena itu A is not the best answer. For B, I went to a wedding, but it was just normal. Again, not specific enough. It doesn't give enough details atau penjelasannya nggak cukup. Let's see. Weddings are important events in many cultures. Not specific enough, too general. D, I attended my cousin's wedding last summer. The venue was decorated. There was a live jazz band. It was gorgeous. The traditional cuisine served there was delicious. Jadi, first of all, it actually answers the question, I attended my cousin's wedding last summer, and it gives details on why, it is a good celebration or event that you enjoyed. And because of that, D is the correct answer. Sorry, it's not B. It's D. Yeah? Okay. Now on to the next questions. Sekarang kita ke pertanyaan 7 dan 8. Again, pause the video and try to answer yourself. For question 7, which of the following is the best way to explain the situation in detail? Describe a time when the weather affected your plans. A, it rains so I stay at home. Jadi A itu salah karena nggak ada detail yang cukup kan. Then it says the best way to explain the situation, which is when the weather affected your plan. It didn't explain the plans. Jadi karena ini A salah. For B, last month I planned to go hiking with my friends, but it started raining heavily when we reached the meeting point. We decided to cancel the trip and spend it at a cafe. Jadi B is correct because it explains the situation kan. Like, I planned this kan, but because of the weather, we canceled it and we instead went to a cafe. For C is not specific enough. And for D, I had plans, but the weather ruined them, so instead I stayed in and played video games with my friends online. It was pretty fun, and I loved how the rain sounded. Nah, sebenarnya D itu lumayan, but we're searching for the best answer. And the thing with D is, D itu nggak jelasin plans-nya itu apa. It says it affected your plans. Tapi lebih bagus kalau beneran dijelaskan plans yang dia ada itu apa. Jadi karena itu, D salah. Now, on to the next question. Which of the following is the best way to connect the book to your own life? A, I recently read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it inspired me to make small but consistent changes in my daily routine, such as. So for A benar karena dibilang buku itu apa, dijawab how it inspired them atau connected the book to their own life by saying how it inspired them and gave an example. Dan karena itu, A is the best answer. For B, I read Bunny and it's a really good horror novel. I love the scenes, and no other book has made me as scared as this. Now for B, it doesn't really connect the book to their own life kan. Cuman bilang, this book Bunny is scary. And karena itu, B is not the correct answer. B could be a correct answer if it was expanded more. Seperti I read Bunny and it's a really good horror novel. This got me into more horror books and horror movies, or it was really good horror novel that it made me scared to sleep at night. Hal-hal seperti itu that can connect the book to your own life. C, reading books is important for gaining knowledge, not specific enough. And D, I read a book but I don't remember much about it. Again, it doesn't answer the question, so that's why it's wrong. Nah, sekarang lanjut ke pertanyaan berikutnya. Itu 9 dan 10. Again, pause the video and try to answer these questions yourself. 9. Which of the following is the best answer for us? Describe an achievement you're proud of. There's a cafe near my house where I often meet my friends. It's comfortable and has good coffee. A. A is not a bad answer sebenarnya, tapi we're searching for the best answer. Jadi lebih bagus kalau ada detail yang lebih yang ditambah. Seperti there's a cafe near my house where I often meet my friends. It's called blah blah blah. It's very comfortable and has good coffee. I really like the atmosphere there. It's very chill. The internet is really fast. And I really love the vintage decor that's provided in this space. It also has my favorite coffee, which is an espresso. Seperti itu. Jadi lebih bagus kalau selain menjawab pertanyaannya, kalian juga bisa menambah detail dan contoh-contoh biar jawaban kalian bisa meningkat skornya. Untuk B, I sometimes go to different places depending on my mood, so there's no specific one I like best. Again, it's not specific enough. It doesn't really kayak jawab the question, which is describe a place in your hometown that you enjoy visiting. Kalian tuh masih harus jawab walaupun kalian gak yakin. My hometown has many interesting places like parks, cafes, and restaurants. Not specific enough, gak bicara tentang satu tempat. The IELTS question tells you to describe a place, and C doesn't answer the question. Yang paling penting itu kalian harus menjawab pertanyaan tersebut dulu sebelum kalian lanjut. Okay. D, I often visit a riverside park in my hometown. Kenapa? Why? Because it's peaceful, surrounded by tall trees. Being there helps me clear my mind. Dia adalah jawaban yang benar karena ya beneran. Pertama menjawab, setelah itu it gives more detail. Like it's surrounded by tall trees, it has a walking path where I go jogging every weekend. Why do I go there? Because being there helps me clear my mind. So D is correct because it has a very vivid description. Okay. Now, the key main takeaways and tips is to, first of all, you guys have to paraphrase. So that means if you guys are asked the question, you guys give the question back. So misalnya, describe a place in your hometown that you enjoy visiting, kan? So a place in my hometown that I really enjoy visiting is, that's how you guys paraphrase, kan? You guys have to kayak input the information dari the question in your own sentence di awal-awal. Kedua, express personal opinions. The answers that you guys give have to be personal, okay? The third is that it's okay to lie in this section. You can make up stuff if you're not sure how. And the fourth is you guys have to be confident in your mistakes because the show must go on. Walaupun kalian membuat kesalahan, kalian tetap harus lanjut dan nggak freak out. Nah, action plan-nya. Action plan yang kalian bisa implement in your daily life itu daily practice, yaitu pick one cue card, right? And, plan your ideas in 1 minute and then record yourself. You can also listen back and, note your mistakes in fluency, grammar, and vocabulary. And the second one is vocabulary focus, which is learn 5 new words or phrases each day and make short sentences with them. You guys bisa bicara sentence ini, do public speaking with these sentences, biar kalian bisa mendengar how these words sound from your mouth, and to make sure that the pronunciation is correct. Okay, great job. That's it for this video. Keep up the practice and remember that staying consistent makes all the difference. You've got this. See you in the next lesson, StudyMates. Goodbye.